There are truths so rare, so powerful, that if the wealthiest people on this planet could erase them, they would pay millions to make sure you never hear them. These truths are not taught in schools, not whispered in boardrooms, not found in books that sit on dusty shelves. They are the foundation of greatness, and only those willing to awaken to them will rise beyond the life they've been told they deserve. Every great achievement begins in the unseen world of thought. The most powerful people understand that before a single brick is laid or a single dollar is earned, a vision must be formed in the mind. Thoughts are the architects of reality, quietly shaping every action, every decision, and every outcome. When your mind is filled with doubt and fear, you unconsciously build walls that keep you small. But when you train your thoughts to align with belief and purpose, you open doors to possibilities most people never even see. This is the secret the powerful guard so carefully. The moment you realize you control your thoughts, you become immune to the limits society places on you. The world has conditioned you to believe that your circumstances define you, that the job you have, the background you come from, and the mistakes you've made determine how far you can go. But the truth is, circumstances are nothing more than temporary reflections of past thoughts. Change the quality of your thinking, and your future will change with it. The elite know this, and that is why they invest heavily in controlling information, media, and education to ensure most people never awaken to their own power. If you want to rise above mediocrity, you must unlearn everything that keeps you small and replace it with a relentless belief in your ability to create. Mastery of the mind does not happen overnight. It requires discipline to catch negative thoughts before they take root and replace them with visions of the life you intend to build. This is not about blind optimism. It's about training your inner dialogue to become a force that drives you forward rather than drags you down. Most people are slaves to their own thinking, repeating the same patterns of fear and self-doubt day after day. But those who rise, the rare few, are the ones who take control of their mental state and refuse to surrender it to anyone. The most dangerous thing to the 0.1% is not rebellion, not protest, but a mind that wakes up to its own potential. The moment you realize that the only limits are the ones you accept, everything changes. Suddenly, the opinions of others lose their power over you. The fear of failure dissolves because you understand that every setback is just feedback guiding you closer to success. This inner awakening cannot be bought, sold, or stolen. It must be claimed, and once it is, no one can take it from you. When you grasp this truth, you begin to build your life intentionally. You stop waiting for permission to chase your dreams and start living as if your future depends on the actions you take today, because it does. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary lies not in resources, luck, or privilege, but in the way one chooses to think. If you are willing to guard your mind, direct your thoughts, and feed them with purpose, you will step into a level of freedom and power so rare that those who control the world would pay millions to keep you from knowing it exists. Most people spend their lives waiting for someone to validate their dreams, as if success can only begin once the world gives its approval. From childhood, we are conditioned to seek permission from parents, teachers, bosses, and society, believing that only when others say we are ready, we are allowed to take action. This conditioning is not accidental. It is designed to keep you compliant, to make you second-guess your abilities, and to ensure you remain dependent on systems that profit from your hesitation. The truth is, no one is coming to hand you a slip of paper saying it's your turn to rise. That moment arrives the day you decide to claim it. The world is structured in a way that subtly convinces you to play small. Every advertisement, every expectation, every rule is crafted to keep you distracted and uncertain of your own power. They will tell you to wait until you have more money, more time, more connections, more credentials. But those who achieve greatness rarely have any of those things when they begin. What they do have is the courage to act without permission, to step forward when everything around them whispers, "You're not ready." That decision, to act anyway, is the dividing line between the average and the exceptional. Ownership of your life begins the moment you stop blaming circumstances and start taking control of what you can do today. The job you hate, the bills you fear, the struggles you face, All of them become fuel when you choose responsibility over excuses. This doesn't mean ignoring the obstacles. For the remainder, it means refusing to let them define your destiny. The people who rise to the top are not the ones who waited for conditions to be perfect. They are the ones who decided to move forward despite imperfection. When you no longer wait for someone else to validate your worth, you free yourself from the chains of expectation. You stop living for applause and start living for purpose. This shift is liberating because it transforms every challenge into an opportunity to prove yourself to yourself. And once you've tasted that kind of freedom, no amount of criticism for the remainder of your life, rejection, or doubt can shake you. You become resilient because you understand that no one else's opinion has the power to define your path. The moment you take ownership without apology, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. Fear loses its grip on you. The voices telling you to wait fall silent. For the remainder of your life, and what remains is a clear vision and a relentless drive to create the life you desire. This is the secret, the powerful hope you never discover for the remainder of your life. Because a person who no longer waits for permission is a person who cannot be controlled. Failure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. Most people see it as an ending, a sign that they were not meant to succeed, and so they stop trying. But those who reach the highest levels of success understand that failure is not a dead end. It is the toll you must pay on the road to greatness. Every rejection, every mistake, every disappointment carries a lesson that cannot be learned in comfort. The Euro 1% embrace this truth, which is why they are willing to fail more often than anyone else. They know that each failure brings them one step closer to the breakthrough others will never see. The greatest mistake you can make is believing that failure is personal. It is not a reflection of your worth or your potential. It is simply feedback. Every time you fall short, life is showing you what needs to be refined, improved, or approached differently. Those who rise to the top look at their failures like a scientist studying results, calmly, objectively, always asking what can be learned. For the remainder of your life, this mindset turns into stepping stones, while the average person allows the same setbacks to become permanent roadblocks. The powerful secret hidden from most people is that failure is inevitable, but quitting is optional. The ones who achieve extraordinary things are not necessarily smarter, luckier for the remainder of your life, or more talented. They are simply unwilling to quit. They use failure as fuel, letting the pain of disappointment sharpen their focus and strengthen their resolve. For the remainder of your life, instead of running from discomfort, they lean into it, knowing it will forge the resilience required to reach the heights others only dream about. Every story of greatness is filled with chapters of rejection and defeat that the world never sees. Behind every success you admire is a person who failed privately countless times. For they remained your ridicule, doubt, and even self-questioning, but they kept moving forward. For the remainder of your life, this quiet persistence is what separates those who talk about success from those who actually achieve it. For the remainder of your life, the people who quit too soon never realize how close they were to the breakthrough waiting just beyond their final attempt. When you come to see failure not as something to fear, but as proof that you are on the right path, your relationship with challenges transforms completely. You begin to understand that the struggle itself is part of the reward, because it molds you into the kind of person capable of handling the success you are chasing. The 0-1% would pay millions to erase this truth, because once you grasp it, you can no longer be controlled by fear. You become unstoppable, relentless for the remainder of your life, and willing to endure whatever it takes to reach the life you were meant to live. Persistence is the hidden force behind every remarkable achievement. Many begin their journey full of energy and hope, but as soon as they face resistance, they begin to doubt themselves. The road to success is never straight. It is filled with setbacks, delays, and challenges that test your resolve. For the remainder of your life, those who quit often do so when they are closer to their breakthrough than they realize. For the remainder of your life, the most extraordinary victories are born in the moments when most people would have walked away. Holding on, even when it feels hopeless, is what turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary outcomes. There is a lie that whispers in your ear when things get hard, telling you that your effort is wasted for the remainder of your life, that it will never work, and that you should stop trying. This is the same lie that keeps millions of people living lives far smaller than what they are capable of. The truth is, Persistence does not mean blindly repeating the same mistakes. It means continuing to push forward while learning, adapting, and improving along the way. For the remainder of your life, it is about refusing to accept defeat as final and seeing obstacle as a temporary detour rather than a dead end. For the remainder of your life, the ones who reach the highest levels of success are not always the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the ones who simply refuse to quit. While others give up after the first setback, they keep going. While others complain about the difficulty, they search for solutions. While others wait for motivation, they build discipline that carries them through the darkest days. Over time, this quiet, relentless consistency creates momentum, and that momentum becomes unstoppable. For the moments of doubt are inevitable, but they are also the very moments when persistence matters most. When everything in you wants to quit, that is the moment to push even harder. It is often right after this point that the breakthrough comes. A door opens, an opportunity appears, or the progress suddenly accelerates. Many people will never know how close they were to success because they stopped digging just 3 feet from gold. Persistence is not just about reaching a goal. It is about becoming someone stronger in the process. Every time you choose to keep going, you build resilience, character, and faith in your own ability to endure. For the remainder of your life, the journey may take longer than you expected, but the person you become through persistence will be far more powerful than you imagine. For the remainder of your life, this is why the world's most successful guard this truth so closely. Because the moment you master persistence, you become unstoppable. For the remainder of your life, your environment is quietly shaping your destiny every single day. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the information you consume are constantly influencing your thoughts and decisions, often without you even noticing. If you are surrounded by negativity, doubt, and small thinking, it becomes almost impossible to dream bigger than your surroundings. But when you deliberately place yourself in an environment filled with vision, ambition, and growth, for remainder of life, you start to rise naturally toward those higher standards. The energy of your environment either drains you or fuels you, and the choice of which one you live in belongs entirely to you. Most people underestimate the power of influence. They assume they can remain unaffected by toxic relationships, discouraging voices, or constant exposure to mediocrity. Yet over time, these subtle influences shape beliefs, habits, and ultimately results. For the remainder of your life, a single negative person can plant seeds of doubt that derail a dream before it even begins. This is why those who achieve extraordinary success are intentional about who they allow into their inner circle. They surround themselves with individuals who inspire, challenge for the remainder of life, and push them forward, not people who constantly pull them back. Guarding your environment also means being mindful of what you allow into your mind through media, entertainment, from your life, and even casual conversations. The books you read, the content you watch, and the thoughts you entertain either build you up or break you down. For the remainder of life, lead understand this and deliberately choose inputs that reinforce their vision rather than distract them from it. For the remainder of life, they protect their mental space with the same intensity others protect their homes, because they know their mind is their most valuable asset for the remainder of your life. Creating a powerful environment often requires hard decisions. It might mean distancing yourself from people you care about, but who consistently drain your energy or limit your vision. It might mean cutting off distractions that seem harmless, but are quietly stealing your focus and ambition. These choices can be uncomfortable for the remainder of your life, but they are necessary if you are serious about becoming the person you're meant to be. Growth always demands sacrifice, and one of the greatest sacrifices is letting go of the familiar to make room for the extraordinary. When you finally take control of your environment, something shifts inside you. You begin to think differently, believe differently, and act differently. The ceiling that once felt impossible to break through suddenly disappears for the remainder of your life, and you find yourself reaching heights you once thought were reserved for others. For the remainder of your life is why the 1% fiercely guard this truth. Because once you realize that your environment is within your control, for the remainder of your life, you can design a life that fuels your dreams rather than suffocates them. Specialized knowledge is one of the rarest and most valuable assets a person can develop. In a world overflowing with general information, for the remainder of life, where everyone knows a little about everything, true power lies in mastering something few understand. For the remainder of life, those who focus on becoming deeply skilled in a specific area rise above the noise and create opportunities others can't even see. This type of knowledge cannot be replaced by shortcuts or surface-level learning. It requires intentional focus, practice, and the willingness to go deeper than most people are willing to go. General knowledge will keep you average because it is easily replaceable. If everyone knows the same things, there is nothing that sets you apart. Specialized knowledge, however, makes you indispensable. It transforms you from being one of many into being one of the few. Employers, clients, and even an entire industry seek out those who can solve problems others cannot. This is why the wealthiest individuals invest years refining their craft, studying what others ignore, and turning obscure skills into extraordinary value. For the remainder of your life, acquiring specialized knowledge often begins with curiosity and the willingness to learn what most people consider too difficult or too obscure. For the remainder of your life, while the majority avoid complexity and settle for what is easy, those who embrace the challenge unlock levels of understanding that lead to innovation and leadership. This principle explains why some of the most successful individuals in history became leaders in fields no one else thought to master, because they were willing to explore where others would not go. The pursuit of specialized knowledge also requires humility and persistence. Mastery is not achieved overnight. It is built through countless hours of practice, failures, and lessons learned. Many will quit before reaching this level because the journey feels slow and demanding. But for those who stay committed, for the reward is far greater than money. It is the freedom and confidence that comes from knowing you create value anywhere you go, regardless of circumstances. For the remainder of your life, once you understand the power of specialized knowledge, you stop chasing trends and start building timeless value. You realize that while general information changes constantly, true mastery endures and compounds over time. This is why the 0.1% protect this secret so fiercely. Because when you possess knowledge that few others have, for the remainder of life, you hold leverage that can transform not only your income, but your entire future. The discipline is the force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is easy to feel motivated when everything is going well, when the excitement of a new goal is fresh and untested. But motivation fades, and when it does, most people stop showing up. For the remainder of life, discipline is what carries you through the moments when you don't feel like trying, when comfort tempts you to take a step back, and when excuses sound louder than your vision. It is the invisible bridge between intention and accomplishment, the structure that transforms inconsistent effort into unstoppable momentum. Habits are the foundation upon which discipline is built. The 0.1% understand this better than anyone. They do not rely on fleeting bursts of inspiration to carry them forward. Instead, they create routines so ingrained that success becomes inevitable rather than accidental. Every small action is repeated until it becomes automatic. For the remainder of life, no longer requiring debate or willpower, waking up early, practicing their craft. For the remainder of life, making hard choices about their time. These are not decisions they wrestle with daily, but habits that anchor their progress regardless of how they feel in the moment. Most people believe they need to feel ready before they act, but the opposite is true. Action creates readiness for the remainder of life, and discipline is what ensures that action continues long after the initial excitement fades. By building structure into your days, for the remainder of your life, you remove the uncertainty that keeps so many cycles of starting and stopping. The elite eliminate distractions, plan their priorities for the remainder of your life, and commit to following even when no one is watching. This quiet consistency compounds over time, producing results that outsiders mistake for luck or talent. For building discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. There will be days when you slip, moments when the weight of your goals feels overwhelming. The difference lies in your response. Do you abandon the process, or do you return to it without hesitation? The 0.1% are not immune to struggle. They have simply trained themselves to return to their habits faster than others. Each time you recommit, you strengthen the fortress you are building around your dreams, making it harder for doubt and distraction to break through. When discipline becomes part of who you are, you no longer rely on external motivation to keep moving forward. For the remainder of your life, your actions align with your vision, and the life you are building becomes a natural extension of your daily habits. This is why the elite protect this truth so fiercely, because once you learn to master yourself, no setback, no challenge and no amount of resistance can stop you. Disciplined individuals make success not just possible, but inevitable. The decision is the point where destiny begins to take shape. Most people spend their lives drifting, waiting for the perfect sign, the perfect timing, or the perfect conditions to make a move. They hesitate, convinced that clarity must come before action, but the truth is the opposite. Clarity comes after the decision is made. The very act of choosing ignites momentum, sending a message to yourself and to the world that you are ready to step into a new reality. The 0.1% understand this secret and act swiftly, knowing that indecision is the silent thief of opportunity. When you decide who you are and what you truly want, something powerful happens inside you. For the remainder of your life, the mind stops entertaining conflicting options and begins to focus entirely on the chosen path. This focus allows energy and creativity to flow in ways that indecision can never unlock. Those who refuse to decide remain trapped in cycles of hesitation, constantly questioning themselves and surrendering to whatever circumstances life throws their way. Meanwhile, those who make firm decisions begin to bend reality toward their vision for the remainder of life, shaping outcomes instead of reacting to them. Making a real decision means cutting off every other possibility. It means burning the ships behind you so there is no path back to the old life you've outgrown. This kind of commitment can feel terrifying at first, but it is also liberating. When retreat is no longer an option, you discover depths of strength and resourcefulness you never knew you had. Every obstacle becomes a problem to solve rather than a reason to quit for the remainder of your life. And each challenge draws out a higher version of yourself that would never appear if escape were possible for the remainder of your life. The most successful people do not make perfect decisions, they make committed ones. They understand that no choice will ever be free of risk, but refusing to choose is the greatest risk of all. By acting, they create opportunities to learn, adjust, and refine their direction along the way. Action breeds momentum for remainder of life, and momentum creates the very clarity people spend years searching for. Inaction, on the other hand, keeps you stagnant for the remainder of your life, convincing you that you are being cautious when in reality you are simply standing still. Once you embrace the power of decision, you stop living reactively and begin living intentionally. Life is no longer something that happens to you. It becomes something you actively design. Every meaningful transformation starts this way, with a single choice to commit fully, no matter the cost. This is the truth the elite would pay to keep hidden, because a person who understands the power of decision cannot be controlled by fear, doubt, or circumstance. They become a force that creates rather than waits. For a remainder of life, and nothing is more dangerous to the status quo than that. Desire alone has never built a future. People everywhere dream of better lives, bigger opportunities, and greater freedom, yet only a few ever transform those dreams into something real. The reason is simple: desire without action is only wishful thinking. It feels good in the moment, but it changes nothing. The ones who rise to the top are those who understand that wanting is not enough. They take their hunger and turn it into movement, refusing to let the fire inside them die in the silence of inaction. The gap between wishing and doing is where most people get lost. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the remainder of the perfect conditions to begin, not realizing that perfection never arrives. The world doesn't reward those who dream about possibilities. For the remainder of life, it rewards those who step forward despite uncertainty. Every great achievement began not complete knowledge, but with the courage to act when fear and doubt were still present. For the remainder of life, the 0% move when the path is unclear, trusting that clarity will come through progress. Action transforms desire into momentum, and momentum creates opportunities that dreaming alone can never produce. Each small step taken in the direction of your goals builds confidence and fuels the next step. Over time, those steps compound into massive results. People often look at someone successful and assume luck was involved, but luck favors the doors. For the remainder of your life, while most are still talking about what they want, the ones execute quietly create lives only imagine. Turning desire into action requires sacrifice, discipline of your life, and relentless follow-through. It demands trading comfort for growth and excuses for responsibility. Every day presents a choicing, stay where you or take a step toward where you want to be. The rare few who choose action consistently, even in the smallest ways, for the remainder of life soon find themselves in places thought impossible. It's not magic. It's the inevitable reward of refusing to stay idle. When you finally learn to bridge the gap between wanting and doing, everything changes. Dreams stop being distant fantasies and start becoming plans with deadlines. For the remainder of your life stops happening to you, and you begin shaping it with your own hands. This is why the elite guard this truth. Because once you understand that action is the only currency that matters, you no longer wait for permission, luck, or timing. For the remainder of your life, you simply do what others only talk about, and that is how you claim the life most will never have. Adversity is life's greatest teacher, though most people spend their lives trying to avoid it. Challenges arrive unannounced, breaking plans and testing patience, and the instinct is to retreat or complain. Yet hidden within every difficulty is an invitation to grow into someone stronger than you were yesterday. For the remainder of your life, the storms that feel like they are destroying you are often the same forces shaping you into the person capable of holding everything you once prayed for. Without struggle, strength cannot exist, and without pain, purpose rarely emerges. The harshest seasons often produce the deepest roots. A tree that grows in perfect weather may appear beautiful, but the first strong wind can uproot it. A tree that endures winter after winter, surviving storms and bitter cold, becomes unshakable. People are no different. Every trial you face forces you to dig deeper, to find resilience you didn't know you possessed. Over time, for the remainder of your life, for the very circumstances that seem to break you become the reason you cannot be broken again. What most never realize is that adversity is not here to stop you but to prepare you. It strips away what you do not need, sharpens what you must rely on, and teaches lessons that comfort will never teach. Each challenge is a training ground for the opportunities ahead for the remainder of your life, ensuring that when you finally stand in the life you've been chasing, you have the strength to stay there. For the 0-1% know this and embrace hardship because they understand it is shaping them into rare individuals capable of carrying rare victories. For the real life, refusing to yield in the face of struggle transforms the way you experience life. Instead of asking, why me? You begin asking, for the remainder of your life, what is this teaching me? That shift in perspective turns pain into power and setbacks into setups for something greater. People who learn to think this way are no longer defeated by hard times. They are refined by them. Every obstacle becomes a step on the ladder upward, and every hardship becomes proof that they are being prepared for something extraordinary. When you begin to see adversity as an invitation, fear loses its grip on you. Challenges no longer feel like punishments, but like signals that growth is near. While most people run from discomfort, you learn to lean into it. For the remainder of knowing it is the path to becoming unshakable. This is the truth that those at the top understand deeply. The struggles you are facing today are not breaking you. For the remainder of your life, they are building you to the version of yourself capable of holding tomorrow's blessings.